Hello. I uploaded my first 3 videos on 31st of July 2017, and if you're watching this on the day it's released, it's 30th of July 2018, which means I've been doing this for a year. Thank you to everyone that's watched, subscribed or shared. I've not really advertised the channel at all, everything's come from word of mouth from some very kind individuals, so if you want to help them, please do share In Defense Of with anyone you think who might like it. I've picked one of my all-time favourites for this anniversary episode.
The president sent us. He says there's a woman around here who can make babies.
Welcome to In Defense Of, making the case for overlooked, forgotten or derided movies in 5 minutes or less. Don't have 5 minutes? Here's 5 seconds.
Stupid bastard!
Today, In Defense Of, 2019, After the Fall of New York, a 1983 Italian rip-off of Escape from New York and everything else ever filmed, written or spoken aloud.
You see that? They beat the Big Apple.
I love this film. I'd seen reviews of it for years before I finally sat down to watch it, and they always played up the Escape from New York referee, which is really misleading because in truth, it steals from dozens of sources. We kick things off with a miniature of a ruined New York City while a man plays an obviously synthesized trumpet sound from a real trumpet. Well, this is already brilliant. A spaceship lifts off while a haunting keyboard tone rings out, somewhat aping Blade Runner. Say what you want about the bargain basement effects, to me this is minimalist magic and a direct counterpoint to the overly busy CGI of modern cinema. A voiceover explains that there was a nuclear war and no children have been born for 20 years. Wait a minute, I know this story, this is Children of Men. Can't be ripping it off though, the novel wouldn't come for another decade. Suddenly we have Mad Max, Flash Gordon, Star Wars masked guards. They're here to clean out the slums of mutants. What were radioactive mutants in before this? Where does that trope come from? Judge Dredd maybe? Someone in the comments, please tell me. Another big jump and now we're in definite Mad Max territory. Vehicular combat in the desert. We meet our hero Parsifal. Yeah, I know, but apparently it's an old European version of Percival, as in Sir Percival of the Round Table, who features in a bunch of classic literature and music. Maybe I'd be more cultured about this if I didn't spend all my time watching Italian trash. Parsifal is played by Michael Sopkiw, he of Blast Fighter fame. He really lucked out, he was in 4 films total and 2 of them are straight up gold. So we're less than 15 minutes in and so much has already happened, and what the hell is that?
To the victor, long life and happiness!
Not going to stick around to work that one out. Literally 1 minute later we get a mention of cyborgs.
That thing back there was a cyborg, half man, half robot.
This is clearly Blade Runner influence at work again, but the replicants were never shown as being explicitly robotic. Dialogue about cyborgs passing for men but being evil seemed to strangely predict Terminator, not released until a year later.
Well, they certainly looked like men, and they were just as evil.
Parsifal is kidnapped and given a mission. It seems America is now run by the fascist Urax, a union of Europe, Asia and Africa, but a small resistance, including the former POTUS, still survive. They want to start humanity afresh in another galaxy, but they need Parsifal to get into New York and locate the last fertile woman alive. Now this is clearly Escape from New York. But Snake Plissken never got to team up with a guy with a claw for a hand and the world's strongest man who attacks with balls. Yup, 2019 is a team-up movie. Once they're inside New York, our team runs into mutants and gains new members. The imaginatively named Shorty, who the mutants want to kill either because they think he's a little boy or because he's not a little boy. Not quite clear on that. And Giara, an attractive woman showing no signs of mutation. Could she be the last fertile woman? No, she's not. The middle part of the movie is all Flash Gordon, Star Wars adventure territory, except for the extreme gore. Oh, Planet of the Apes. Big Ape, that's probably about as obvious as Shorty, joins our crew and helps them reach their mission target. A professor protecting a sleeping beauty seems a mythic concept, but I can't pin a source down. Comments please. As dark as many fairy tales may have been in their early incarnations, I'm pretty sure there's no version of Sleeping Beauty where she's raped by an ape man. The crew make their escape by driving a battered car through a narrow road littered with mines. And we're back in Escape from New York territory. The ending here, however, is far more upbeat than Carpenter's masterpiece, which is somewhat remarkable seeing as everyone except Parsifal is rapidly killed off. I don't like Big Ape. I love George Eastman. He's an Italian movie legend, probably most famous for eating a fetus in Anthropophagus, but the Planet of the Apes stuff is a reference too far for me. I'm fine with mutants and Sleeping Beauty, but Planet of the Apes seems too ridiculous. Also, it would be nice to one day watch an Italian exploitation film that doesn't feature rape. I mentioned earlier that Children of Men has the same plot as 2019. A couple of decades after the last human birth, a resistance faction inside a police state tasks a former ally to transport a fertile woman to safety. It's based on a book though, so the chances that it actually took any influence from an old Italian... oh. Cool. 2019 is one of my very favourite lesser known films of all time. It steals from so many sources, but it's somehow different from all of them, and only B movies are capable of that. Maybe Tarantino too. Not just a post-apocalyptic movie, not just a science fiction adventure, and definitely not just a retread of Escape from New York. 2019 fits into a couple of extremely niche subgenres within 80s Italian exploitation. Firstly, killer rats. Italian movies love rats as baddies. They cause a zombie apocalypse in the hysterical zombie creeping flesh, or Hell of the Living Dead depending where you are, but if you're looking for the Italian rat magnum opus, you can't beat Rat's Night of Terror. The shocking endings of Carrie, Friday the 13th and Sleepaway Camp ain't got nothing on rats. The other subgenre is even more limited. Italian movies with a futuristic year and American location in the title. 2019, after the fall of New York, slots nicely between 1990 Bronx Warriors and 2020 Texas Gladiators, but sadly does not qualify for the even more limiting subgenre, Italian movies with a title comprising futuristic year, American location, and fighter synonym.